Boostly podcast. We're in season 7, episode 14, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I've invited onto the show James Sinclair, who's one of Britain's best entrepreneurs. He started at the age of 15 out of his nan's spare room, and now he has built an empire which is huge. If you want to go find out more, Google James Sinclair, go to jamessinclair.net. What he really wants you to do is go to his YouTube channel. He is on a mission in 2020 to grow that YouTube channel. I think if I could compare him to anybody, he's the Britain's version of Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, then just go check him out. But he gives so much value, content and advice away for free on that YouTube channel, and he's really trying to grow it from the 3,000 where he is now to 10,000 plus. So please go over to YouTube and subscribe to his channel. Today we're going to dig into a whole host of issues and topics, including why business owners should be taking note of politicians, which is an interesting one, seeing that it's the general election coming up very soon in the UK at the time of recording. We also delve into why you should sack yourself from your business. He goes over why he wrote about certain topics in his books, as well as many other things. This is one that you should not miss. And although it is not hospitality related, I think any business owner can get on this and they can learn something. Before you do leave, go rate, review and subscribe to the Boostly podcast. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. But without further ado, let's jump in and have a chat with James Sinclair, the millionaire clown. By the time that this goes live, your new book will be available. Is that right? Which one is the new book?
It's already out. This one.
Getting customers. Tell me about getting customers. Tell me about getting customers. Break that down.
Well, the full title is called Getting Customers Easier, Faster, and for Less Money Than You Ever Thought Possible. Because in the world of LinkedIn, Twitbook, YouTube, TikTok, Bizzity Bop, Instagram, and all of this, I think most business owners that don't understand the fundamentals of marketing become very lazy, i.e. they put something on Instagram, they post something on any social media platform, and the results they're getting are not the results that they would dream of getting. So I wanted to write this book to give business owners the fundamental basis of marketing. So if you understand the policies in here, you'll be able to get a far better response from your posting on the media. So it teaches about the method of marketing that I believe to, which is market, message, media. And I believe people have forgot about their market, they forgot about their message, because media is so freely accessible. They're just posting stuff without any real understanding of marketing. We talk about copywriting, how to write the best copy to get people to take action. Actually, what is call to action, and some of my best call to action stuff that we put in. Basic business, there's a whole chapter on basic business, understanding average customer value, lifetime value, transactional value, why you must market, why customer service is king, and why product first and marketing second is the way to go. Because you have these two extremes. So you've got people that just market really well, or these guys that have a great product that don't market. So you've got great marketing, terrible product, or great product, terrible marketing.
All right. I love that. And a nice little pitch for the book. You can go get it from any good bookstore, and the bad ones as well. But what I want for you to do, take us back now to when you were 15. How old are you right now, James?
34.
34. So just over 15 years ago, you were 15 in your nan's spare room. That's when you came up with your first business idea. What was it? And what was the biggest lesson that you learned in those first few years of having a business at just 15? The
smart thing that I think I did, and early enough, this was, it got into my head that you've got to build a business that has instant cash flow. Now, it might not be profitable, but it's got to, from day one, have some form of cash flow. And I think all startup entrepreneurs need to understand that the first business that you do might not be the one that you really want to do, but the first thing that you do has got to give you some basis of understanding that you've got to bring cash in, pay some bills, and keep some back to invest into the things that you really wanted to do. I always wanted to own visitor attractions, Mark. It was something I was passionate about doing, but I realised at 15 I couldn't go and open a theme park. I didn't have the capital to go and do it. So I thought, well, look, I know where my end in mind is. I want to own visitor attractions. Let's start now by doing magic shows and doing kids' parties and going to visitor attractions and being the entertainer at visitor attraction to build up my knowledge base of that industry and learn how to get cash in, and I think that's what I was pretty good at, being unusual in a very usual world at 15. And, I was the youngest kids entertainer on the block. I didn't wear a bow tie and a bloody waistcoat. I do that now, but it's a bit fun. And I chose a business that had margin in it, i.e., if I build £200, I could keep most of that £200, whereas most businesses, you build £200 and the profit that most businesses make is sub 10%.
One thing that I've always wanted to know is that you've got the first venue and you've grown it to the point where you want to get a second. You want to get that second venue. I want to just go back to that sort of mindset, to that point. And what is the one bit of advice that you wish that you had received at that point before going from venue 1 to venue 2? And obviously you've learned loads because now you've got loads and loads of new venues. But what is that one bit of advice that you wish that you had received going from property number 1 to property number 2?
I think people need to understand how much money they actually want to make to go into their personal bank account and not keep growing a business just for ego's purpose. So if you think, right, I need to just, I want to make 50 or 100 or 20,000 pounds to live the life that I want to meet, that I really want to have. Do you need to go and open that second business? Could you just get another 50,000 of revenue out of the existing business to make that money that you want to make? Most people think that opening a second venue, a second restaurant, is just going to double your profits. In reality, it can be the other way around because you're splitting yourself across 2. I don't think having 2 is a great place to be. I think you either have 1 great restaurant or 20 great restaurants. I think 3 or 4 is just, history tells us that those people usually reverse and go back to having 1 again because they can't afford the middle management to go and run it and stuff like that. Now, I thought it would be easy, and it wasn't. The only reason I got through was I didn't have a family, I didn't have a relationship, I didn't take any money out of the business. I carried on doing gigs at the weekend to live off of so the business could breathe. And we nearly lost it 2 or 3 times. And if you're not properly funded, it's near on impossible to get through that growth curve of becoming a multi-chain operator of anything, whether it's a dentist, doctor, shop, restaurant, hotel. It's very difficult. And that's actually why I wrote this book, The Experience Business. And this book is all about what you just asked me, how you build a business with margin. Because if you haven't got margin, then you cannot sustainably reinvest back in the business. Give your what I call customer cuddles. There's a whole chapter in there called that customer cuddles, where you give, like Apple give you customer cuddles. When you go into one of the shops, there's always loads of staff around, so you don't ever have to wait to see someone. That's a customer cuddle. But this Apple iPhone, it costs them £100 to make. They sell it for £1,200. There's £1,100 worth of margin in there, so that you do always have the best shopping experience. If there is a problem, you can go and speak to Apple on the phone. Are fantastic. You get a Genius bar appointment, they sort it out. One of my earpods wasn't working, they just gave me a new one, and I thought, this is fantastic, but you pay £250, whatever it is, for one of these earpod things, and that it's probably cost them £15 to make that. So, I just think they're fantastic for giving me back. But when you've got a low margin business, you're very profit and loss protected. So you don't go and really look after your customers because you know that if you give them back something, you've lost your money. Yeah. And Disney are the same.
Now, without going on for too long on this one topic, can you just delve into me the sheep, the ox, and the eagle, and talk about why it is important for business owners to listen to this?
And there's a difference between the sheep, oxes, and the eagles. And the eagles are people that know what they want the business to look like when it's finished, have incredible vision, think with the end in mind, great at joint ventures. They're not control freaks. They think, how can I employ as many people as possible to do everything for me? The oxes are control freaks. They're always scared of delegating because they're control freaks. They're superheroes of their business. They're the only I can solve the problem type people. They say things like, if you want a job run well, do it yourself. They're sitting in that category with so many people, whereas the eagles would say, if you want a job done well, let's create a system, or how can we employ the best possible people to create the system? And the sheep are the 80% of people that turn up, do the same day in, day out. and that's what makes the world go round.
Thank you for that. So yeah, we've got all those 3 books, and don't worry, I will in the show notes for this give links to where you can go get all of them. So let's move on now. So you obviously give a load of advice. You do the YouTube channel, you do the Instagram, you've got blogs, you're literally everywhere at the moment in time. You obviously speak to a lot of
TikTok now as well.
TikTok as well, which is obviously the new thing, the new kid on the block. But you speak to a lot of business owners on a day-to-day, probably from all the different types of industries. But what would you say time and time again is the biggest mistake that you see that these business owners, these small business owners are making right now?
They have battle plans, but not a war plan. Very simple. Most business owners do what I call World War One style of business when they need to do World War II style of business. What does that mean? I shall explain. World War One, no one knows really what that war was about. They were fighting for a mile of land and lost a mile of land, fighting for a mile of land, lost a mile of land. World War II, everyone could turn around and say, look, the vision is we get rid of this nasty bloke in Germany, we liberate Germany, and we get rid of the fascists. And then you have the battles to do that, but everyone knew why they were doing it. Whereas World War One, it was just a disaster. Like everyone's just fighting these battles with no real end in mind, no purpose. It's like these 2 mums I had that I done a video with yesterday. I said, what do you want your business to look like when it's finished? Oh, we want it to be a brand. No, what do you want it? What profit do you want it to make? What revenue do you have? They couldn't tell me what profit they wanted to make.
If anybody wants to get a real insight of somebody who's done just that and had that end goal, go and check out Mike Winnett's podcast, Mike Winnett's YouTube channel. I know you were on his podcast recently. He's a guy who has done exactly that and has got the end goal. I know now he's fighting off entrepreneurs and doing all the other things, but go and have a look at his YouTube channel. He told you exactly, but when he started his business, he had the full end goal in mind. He knew who he wanted to sell it to. He knew what he wanted to achieve in his business. Absolutely. So that'd be a real good example to go and have a look at. Right, we'll come into the end because I know you're a busy guy and you've got to get off to a very important meeting. So I'm going to finish with some quick fire questions. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and just give me the first thing that comes back. Everything that you talk about in here, don't worry, it'll be up in the show notes if you miss it. So number 1, favorite business book that you have read?
Losing My Virginity, Richard Branson.
What is your favorite podcast or YouTube channel? I'll let you have a YouTube channel.
I've got to say that I need to say How to Get Rich, Felix Dennis, because those 2 books are both equally as favourable, and I just need to get that one in.
You can sneak it in. Sneak it in.
It's a fantastic book, and you can also get it on audio. It's great to listen to on a long journey as well. Both of them.
Are you a podcast person, would you say, or would you more listen to the Audible?
I do podcasts, but
I know you do.
If I was going to listen, I would be Audible rather than listen to podcasts.
All right. So
I think that will change in the future.
Okay. Interesting. All right, then. So here's a good one. Favorite purchase under £100 in the past year?
See this on the back of my iPhone is the extra battery. It's £100. I think it's £99, £95, I think it is, at the Apple shop. But the Apple one, not some knockoff thing. Yeah. My phone never runs out of charge now. Literally, my stress levels have gone right down. So there we go.
Because you are obviously, that we have realised on this podcast, you like to talk. So if you've got extra battery, good. All right, then. What is your biggest pain point in the business right now?
So much effort into my YouTube channel, and I've only got 3,700 subscribers. It's constantly on me. But I think I'm going to smash it on Boxing Day with our brand new. It would have come out by then. We're buying £1 million worth of property, or attempting to, with hardly any money. And we put a teaser out on that last night, and we got 500 views. That's the quickest we've ever got any views in. I mean, a YouTube view is real. Facebook, Instagram, all them views, and every.
I was one of those views. Whenever anybody puts anything along the lines of no money down, I think around a YouTube video, you're gonna do all right. I know the fella that you're doing it with, he has the thumbnails and stuff doing really well on the YouTube. So, but yeah, we will link to that. Don't worry. And by the time this comes out, that video will be out.
We don't know. I mean, everyone will know the results of it. I mean, right now, I can talk about it because it's not. I mean, right now we've secured 1 property, so we're pretty much £900,000 away, and we've only got 8 more days of filming.
There you go. Good. I am looking forward to it. I'm not into the property, but I am actually looking forward to it. So I'm definitely sharing.
Well, At the end of that documentary, whatever money we need to put into it, I'm going to put the money in. But then within 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, whatever it is, we're then going to go and make that money. That will be challenge 2, and we'll be using business tactics to do that from scratch.
Okay, so last one then. How much sleep do you get at night?
Oh, I think sleep is everything else is here and sleep is here. I think you've made it in life if you can wake up naturally every day. I do not, and I absolutely want to get this over, I do not subscribe to anyone getting up before the birds to be successful. I genuinely believe an extra 90 minutes in bed, if you can do that, will make you a better person and a healthier person and live a longer life.
I like that. But how much sleep do you get?
As much as I can, between 6 and 8, 9 hours every day.
James, all right, where can people go and find out more about you? But more importantly, if anybody wants to come to one of your events that are happening in 2020, we know there's one coming up on the 6th of February. So by the time this comes out live, it's going to be a bit last minute. Where can people go to find out more about coming, and why should somebody come before I let you go?
February, I run my business growth seminar. I run a few of them a year, a couple of £100 to come to one of those. It's an afternoon, including lunch, and I share loads of ways of how you can grow your business, marketing, raising money, buying businesses, getting the best team members, retaining team members, retaining customers, understanding the 3 types of entrepreneurs, the business life journey, preparing for that. It's packed out with stuff, and it's a great day. We'd love to have you there if you're serious about growing your business, and it's all experience-based, nothing theory-based. You can book onto that at jamessinclair.net, and you can get my book on jamessinclair.net. Getting Customers, the new one, is only available on Amazon right now. But really, everything that you really want is you go on to YouTube, type in James Sinclair, subscribe to that YouTube channel, and feast your ears and eyes on 400 videos on business for free.
Everybody, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Boost Hospitality Podcast. We are now in season 7, if you believe it or not, so episode 14. If this is the first time that you have tuned in, please go back on the full back catalogue. We've got people from all of the hospitality industry giving helps and advice on how you can increase your direct bookings. This was a very special episode with James Sinclair, and I thank you so much for tuning in. Before you leave, rate, review, subscribe, and also as well a little cheeky plug for the Boostly YouTube channel. Go and find it. There's loads of advice on how you can boost your direct bookings. But for now, thank you very much, and I will see you for the next episode very soon.